Hey Aries, how's it going? My name's Alex, and I think the Oracle and I might have some valuable insights for you. I sat here meditating on your vibe, tuning into all of the people who have strong Aries placements who might be interested in watching this video, asking the Oracle for any sort of insights or guidance that they might be willing to share with you. I also did an I Ching divination and got you a hexagram. And I did all this before the video because it just takes a long time and I sit here for a while. But I think that you'll gain something from this video. If you're drawn here and you clicked, I'm sure you'll find something useful. So, while I was sitting here, the first thing that flashed into my mind's eye was this fully armored knight, like a medieval, full plate armor, shining silver, and like a blue plume in the helmet with a big metal shield, holding up this shield against a blast of fiery breath coming from a giant red dragon. And the knight seemed steady and unperturbed, like he was just doing his thing. His shield was blocking the flame. It was interesting. His armor was very, very shiny, almost glowing. And then that vivid image just sort of faded. The next one I got, pretty shortly after, was a man wearing glasses, similar to mine in fact, in a pool on a nice, bright, sunny day with like a small child, a boy in his arms, and they were just laughing and playing in the pool. And then, after a few minutes of nothing, I was getting ready to cease the meditation. I wasn't sure if anything else was going to come. And I got a vision of a phoenix, just the classic fiery phoenix being reborn from the ashes and the flames surrounding it. And it was like a reddish phoenix, maybe some iridescent purple in there, big yellow beak, long neck. And its head was up high and its beak was facing the sky. And when it was fully formed out of the flame and ash and the flame subsided, a very, very large arrow came out of nowhere, just fired from a bow off frame and went right through its neck, and it fell over and died. I'm not sure the significance to you personally. Maybe these three separate vivid images mean something to you. I'm not quite sure. Although I have my opinions on the symbolism, these messages are for you. And then I got nothing after that and decided it was time to get you a hexagram from the I Ching. And I got hexagram 60, which is Jie. Sorry, I'm going to butcher these pronunciations. But it's restriction or restraint, which is the hexagram of water above, lake below. And it's a changing one. I got a changing line in there. So it's changing to hexagram 19, or approaching. So basically, the hexagram, the name of the hexagram comes from the bamboo stalk. And you know how those bamboo stalks have segments with these sort of joints, they look kind of like knuckles in between each segment of bamboo. And that little joint is where the name comes from for this hexagram. Basically, it's the idea that you restrict something before you can continue growing. You have to set boundaries and limitations and economize before you can take next steps. And the changing of the hexagram into hexagram 19 approaching signifies that, well, it is the fifth line that changes, which is said to be central and correct, the authority of this line, of this hexagram. And so it's a person in authority who applies these restrictions in a good attitude and sets an example for others to live frugally, to know how to plan, to economize properly, and to do so properly and in moderation and not too severely. Severe restrictions should not become commonplace if they cause misfortune and unhappiness, but good, healthy restrictions create prosperity and happiness and allow for proper growth. The two gua that make up the hexagram, the gua is a set of 3 lines. Each hexagram is made up of 6 lines. It's water on the top and lake beneath it. Those are the two gua that make up this hexagram. And so this resembles a lake that either needs more water or doesn't have enough. The water above the lake signifies how to fill a lake properly. If you are going to dam up a lake or a river and create a lake, you need to have a plan, because you could cause flooding and cause all sorts of problems and calamities if you just build a dam without a plan. And if you don't collect water, or if you just let the river run amok and maybe you didn't dredge the river and it's flooding season now, then again you're going to have calamity and flooding, or you'll lead to drought because you're not controlling the flow of the river. And the water disperses and it's wasted and unused. Now, it was generally in the ancient days a legitimate practice for the maintenance of agriculture and civil infrastructure, the regulation of lakes and understanding when they flood and when they drought and how to mitigate and utilize this resource properly. And it became a metaphor applied throughout the ancient world for applying restraints in social life. So a government would regulate behavior through laws or economy, and a leader of a family would regulate behavior of their children and other family members to create a harmonious atmosphere. And that is what I think your attention is being brought to. And these setting an example of frugality and restraint and good behavior creates a social atmosphere of harmony around you and everyone around you. And I think that there's, when I take into consideration the things that I saw in my meditation and apply the hexagram to this, I felt there was some type of threat. I'm not trying to freak you out or anything, like don't get paranoid or whatever, because these types of threats are generally not mortal in these symbolic ways. They're just generally something you need to look out for, some economic hiccup or a social issue. Generally not too serious, but inner visions and sort of the imaginal realm is extremely dramatic. So, a knight fighting a dragon, or a phoenix being born from the ash only to immediately get shot in the neck. Like, these are very, very over-dramatic, overly symbolic things. And they seem really, really bad, but they're usually just very dramatic just to bring your attention to them. And one thing that bamboo stalks were used for in the ancient world was that they would be sliced in half. And the two halves would be given to 2 different people for verification purposes. For example, 2 spies would be given these by their handler or by their government or whatever person they were working for if they didn't know each other. And they would be given these 2 halves at different times. They wouldn't be aware of each other. This would be a way of verifying each other's identity if the 2 halves of the bamboo stalk perfectly fit together. It's a verification token. It could be used for many things, not just spies, but for the shipment and acceptance of goods or special items, sometimes heirlooms, or sometimes weapons shipments, or large shipments of material that were already paid for, to verify the person who had already paid for them. They would have a bamboo stalk that would be used as a verification token. And if the person's identity was verified, they could receive the goods legally. So I think there's something going on with credentials maybe in your life, if this is resonating with you, that you need to potentially verify somebody's identity. There could be some type of fraud. You might be the target of some type of scam or something like that. Just be extra careful about replying to text messages or emails that you're uncomfortable with, and just make sure you really just verify the person who's talking to you. Verify their identity. Don't make any deals that you don't need to make. Be frugal. Don't spend any money you don't need to spend. And just economize, strip down, restrict, set a good example of level-headedness and self-protection in these sort of economic and social dealings. And that's kind of what I put together from this first part of the reading here. Now, I think I'd like to get into one more aspect of your life, using a divination technique that I've developed. I wonder if this will show up on camera. Using this table I carved, and these 24 archetypes I've developed, and this coin, we'll find out one of these 24 areas of your life that you should focus on, or that the oracle wishes to bring your attention to. And I'll pull some cards, and we'll explore it. Okay, it's interesting. It's pointing at the elemental symbol for Earth. Which seems appropriate since we're talking about frugality and economizing. That has to do a lot with the earthly realm. I think that's just verification or confirmation that you should be maybe watching your wallet. If you're watching some late night infomercials, you probably don't need to buy that fancy blender. Do you really need it? We know you wanted to get that quad. Go dirt biking with your friends. Maybe hold off a season or two. Your family's looking at you wondering, is he setting a good example? All right. So what does Aries need to know about their earth element? What does Aries need to know about the element of earth in their life? By the way, thanks for hanging out with me, Aries. I appreciate it. I hope this has been useful so far. Alright. These cards don't want to come out today. What does Aries need to know about the earth element? It's interesting the knight had a blue plume. Generally don't associate blue with Aries. Okay, we've got the Four of Swords here. Nice and repose, meditation, relaxation. Yep, resting from something. Maybe that's the knight that was fighting the dragon, right? And, he needs a break after that. And it's good. This card is a Jupiter card, a Libra card, and an air card. Obviously the swords, the suit of swords. So just beware of the drought. I think that's what this is kind of signifying. Just rest and relax, because if you spend too much time fighting the fiery dragon, the air becomes dry, and your lake starts to dry out. So you need to take a rest from just too much fighting. I know, Aries, you like to fight, but sometimes you need to take a step back, enjoy what you have. Just enjoy what you have. I'll pull one more card from another deck. This is a cool deck, inspired by Roman African mosaics found in oracular temples. I like these cards a lot. But yeah, just take stock of what you have, Aries. Enjoy it. That's another thing about setting limitations for yourself, is just enjoying what you have and showing others. You're meant to set an example in this regard, showing others how to enjoy what they have. What's that King Crimson song? Be happy with what you have. It's literally an 8.5-minute song, and I think the only lyrics are just him repeating, be happy with what you have, over and over again. So, one more card for Aries Earth Element. What does Aries need to know? What's this one? Oh, look at that. It's a little grist mill, or a grain mill. And it says prioritizing. Yep. Just threshing the grain, separating the wheat from the chaff. So on the Earth Element, you got the Four of Swords and prioritizing. You got to grind some flour. Now, the wheat is already harvested, right? The wheat that you throw in the mill is something that you've already harvested. You're not harvesting, you have harvested. So this is another confirmation of being happy with what you've got, or utilizing what you already have. You have resources at your disposal already. You're not really being asked to seek more resources. You're being asked to enjoy the ones you have and make the best use of the resources which you already possess. And that requires restraint, because sometimes we just want more and more and more, or we think we need more and more and more. And we get this hectic feeling and this scared feeling that I just don't have enough. But if you calm yourself, relax, fall into a state of meditation and awareness, self-awareness and awareness of your environment, you will discover within yourself a great resourcefulness. Great resourcefulness. Like that knight. All he had is a shield, but he survived. He came back to take a nap. And all he had was a sword and shield. And he fought off this dragon was enormous. Like a Smaug-sized dragon. And you have enough at your disposal to do what you need to do, to make your flour, to bake your bread. You have, if you've got a project or a goal, you need to stop worrying that you are lacking resources necessary. You need to reach within yourself, and you'll find them. You'll find you have everything you need to carry out this project that you're thinking about. And when you do so frugally with the resources you already possess, whether it's your talents or your skills that you're worried about, that you need to develop those further, you might not need to. I don't think you do. If you think you need more money, maybe not. I think you have everything you need to step forward, and people around you will be like, wow, he's doing it. He or she is doing it. You're doing it. Your mood changed, you're happier with what you've got, and you're being productive with what you got, and everyone around you will be inspired. They'll be like, look at this person, just going and getting it, even though they thought they were lacking something before. I think I could do that too. If he or she could do it, maybe I can. And I think that's what's happening here. The Earth Element also represents like your friends and family around you. And you're being called to inspire them, and you have every capability of doing so. Just watch yourself for for frauds. Look out for flying arrows. Protect your neck, as they say. But don't get too caught up in the overly dramatic symbolism of the phoenix. You know, the arrow that shot through the phoenix neck, it was like maybe bronze or brass tipped, had a red shaft, and again, like bronze feathers. Like, it wasn't bird's feathers, they were made out of metal, with like, they're burnished with like a blue paint maybe. And that's, it's interesting that the size of the arrowhead was really, really big. And it just seems unusual, the bronze tip and the metallic feathers. It makes me think of statue, right? Like, I think there's a statue in Rome called, I think it's called the Ecstasy of Teresa. And I believe it's an archangel, I don't remember which one, Raphael maybe, I can't remember, holding an entranced Teresa of Avila. And he's holding this arrow to her chest, and he's like about to penetrate her heart with his arrow. And this symbolizes the, you know, like the Holy Spirit penetrating a devoted spiritual seeker. And an arrow that's entirely made out of metal with an exaggeratedly large arrow head makes me think of a statue. It doesn't make me think of an actual arrow that someone would really use in a war. This thing was disproportionate and wouldn't fly properly. So that leads me to believe it's very, very symbolic and not literal. Now, I'm not sure what the symbol means, killing a phoenix that had just been reborn. I don't know. That's a strange one, isn't it? But prioritize, economize, be frugal, protect your neck, have fun with your family or friends, or if you don't have family or friends, relax and have fun with yourself. And enjoy what you've got. And you've got what it takes to carry on with this next project or this next step you're looking forward to. And you don't need to collect any more resources, at least not at the moment. You just need to regulate the resources you have. Don't let them run out, and don't flood them. Don't let it flood and have too much. Whether it's money or spiritual resources, psychological, emotional, skills and talents, regulate these, and you'll get there in the end. I'm silly. I forgot that one last thing. I got a hat full of tokens here that I made. I'd like to leave you with one last thing to think about. What is the last thing that Aries needs to know today? Lead me right, Oracle. Put my hand on the token that Aries needs to see. It's this one. Venus, the planetary symbol for Venus. And the number 6. Oh, don't focus on me, camera. There you go. Venus and the number 6. You know, that has a lot to do with relationships and family. At least in this context, I keep thinking of that vision of the man and the boy in the pool, just hanging out and having fun. I got a very father-son vibe from that. Oh, the burnished brass. I think brass is made with copper, right? Venus is symbolized by copper. Venus is the divine feminine. Maybe there's... And Venus is the womb of reality. You know, that's the thing that gives birth to all and is abundant with resources. I think this is just confirmation that you have more than enough to carry on. And you need to stop worrying, stop thinking about scarcity, and just move on. Do what you want to do, because you've got the mother of the universe supporting you. I think in the Tao Te Ching, it says the wise man knows when to take sustenance from the mother. That's what you're being asked to do. All right, Aries. It was great seeing you. I hope to see you again soon. Take it easy.